Officer's been going over a lot of important information. Can we all agree on that? A lot of important information. But I know Lamb spoke to me on the side and mentioned salvation, right?
She want to know how Jesus looks.
Okay, very good. We'll get to that in 1 second. You got a second, sis? All right. Give me Proverbs 8 and 4. I want to show you something. I want to show your son something too. Proverbs chapter 8, verse 4. Because sis came up with an excellent question. But I really want you men to realize why we're out here directing a lot of what we're saying to you, right? And you young men too. Read that.
Proverbs chapter 8, verse 4.
Bring it out.
Unto you, O men, I call.
What does God say?
Unto you, O men, I call. And my voice is to the sons of men.
Wait a minute. God says, you men are he calling. And his voice is to the sons of men.
That's right.
Sisters will get in order when men get in order.
That's right.
This is why God says, I'm dealing with the men first. He's dealing with sisters, without a doubt, because many of our sisters are foremothers according to the Bible. You have Sarah, you have Esther, you have Esther, you have Mary, you have Elizabeth. You have so many righteous examples for sisters. But men are overlooking the righteous examples that they have.
Right.
We look up to Farrakhan. We look up to Jay-Z. We look up to P. Diddy. No, God says he's calling you men to stand up.
Right.
He's calling you, Walter.
Right.
And then he's talking to who? The young men, because it's your job to raise up these young sons, man. That's why Macon is like a damn crime haven.
That's right.
With the killing and the robbery and the drive-bys in this city alone, just like in Philadelphia, in Chicago, in LA, in New York, in Atlanta. God is calling you men. It's you men that's got to set it in order. Give me Psalms 94, verse 16. It's the men that God is calling to set this daggone wretched place in order.
Right.
And you're going to teach the young sons how to do the same.
Right.
That when you pass away, it's like you never left.
That's right.
Read that.
Psalms chapter 94, verse 16.
Bring it out.
Who will rise up for me against the evildoers?
Why does God have to ask that question? Who is going to rise up for him against evildoers? Go ahead.
Or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity?
Now, God says, who's going to stand up for him against the workers of iniquity? When you look at the city of Macon and all the surrounding areas, iniquity means sin.
Right.
All of the sin and evil that goes on in this place, God is asking us, the children of Israel, who's going to stand up and say, you know what? I'm not going to partake in that. This is wicked. I'm not going to let my sons celebrate this because it's wicked.
Right.
It's against God. I'm not going to let my wife wear this. My sons do this. My daughters do this because it's against God.
That's right.
We're out here asking who's going to stand up for God.
Right.
My man raised his hand. I like that. He raised his hand strong too. I like that. So here's the thing, sis. The question you asked about what does Jesus look like, right? Give me that in, was it Hebrews 10? The volume of the book. Hebrews 10, 17. 10 and 7. Thank you. I want you to hear this, sister. Because Christ is speaking here, right? Read.
Hebrews chapter 10, verse 7.
Bring it out.
Then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book.
So the Jesus you're asking about, the Jesus that we all should be asking about.
Right.
He says he comes in the volume of the book. He doesn't begin in the book of Matthew. He doesn't begin in the 4 books of the Gospels. No. He says the volume of the book, meaning in the book of its entirety. The first time Christ is discussed or prophesied about is in the book of Genesis.
Oh, yeah, sure. What I'm saying.
You understand that, right?
His journey started in Mark.
Listen,
Saint Mark.
him coming in the flesh, I understand that. But his prophecies about his coming and a little deeper, the times he's been here before, are all since the book of Genesis. That's why in Hebrews, through the spirit of Paul, he's saying, I've come in the volume of the book. Every word that's written in this book is attached directly to the Christ. Every single word.
He's the word made flesh.
See, my man Lamb. Now you understand, right? He's the word made flesh. He's not Mark, Luke, John, and Matthew made flesh. The entire Bible, he is made flesh. He's the manifestation of the word of God that walked the earth. Just like I'm looking at the sons and the daughters of God right now.
That's right.
Read that again.
Hebrews chapter 10, verse 7.
Bring it out.
Then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book.
So the young men, let's go to the volume of the book. Let's go to Daniel chapter 10. Daniel 10, verse 5 and verse 6. Because we just read, Jesus said he comes in the volume of the book. So let's read this real quick.
Daniel chapter 10, verse 5.
Bring it out.
Then I lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz.
So here is Daniel. You know Daniel the lion's den, right? Here's Daniel describing someone. He said this man had on a garment, had on a golden girdled belt. Had on a garment and a golden belt. Who is he describing here? Go ahead.
His body also was like the beryl.
So the garment he had on was green. Beryl means green, right? Go ahead.
And his face as the appearance of lightning.
I want you to remember this. He said, this man that I'm seeing, his face is like the appearance of lightning. When you think of lightning, you think of power. Lightning has the ability to destroy structures, to destroy earth, to destroy mountains. He had the appearance of lightning. This man had so much power resonating in him. Wait.
And his eyes as lamps of fire.
And his eyes were as lamps of fire. This is the volume of the book. This is in the Old Testament. Wait a minute. Let's keep reading.
And his arms.
And his what?
And his arms.
They say descriptions ain't in the Bible or color ain't in the Bible. Let's see what God says. So sister asked the question, what does Jesus look like, right? So we're now in the Old Testament getting a description of who you asked about, the Messiah. Read that.
And his feet.
No, read the part again.
And his arms.
Young men, show me your arms. Show me your arms. So your arms and what?
And his feet.
Show me your feet. You ain't got no shoes on. Show me your feet. There you go. Wiggle your toes. Go ahead.
Like in color.
Like what?
Like in color.
So there is color in the Bible. Go ahead.
To polish brass.
Who knows what color brass is? Lamb. Oh, Lamb held out his hand. Okay, okay. Guess what? Your mother asked a question, what does Jesus look like? He looks just like y'all.
That's right.
The same color, the same hair texture. Get that Revelation chapter 1.
Bring it out.
Let's prove it further. So we just read it in the Old Testament. His color was like polished brass, meaning brass burned in a furnace.
Right.
Right? But now we'll go to the New Testament. Give me Revelation 1 and 1.
Revelation chapter 1 verse 1.
Bring it out.
The revelation of Jesus Christ.
So this is the revealing of Jesus Christ by John, the Revelator, on the island of Patmos. Right? He was there as a punishment. Right? Read. Jump down to verse 14.
Yes, sir. Verse 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool.
So Jesus, oh, look, sis said, whoa, whoa, whoa. Sis did the look like, wait a minute, hold on. This is why, brother, touch your hair. Touch your hair. Doesn't that look like sheep's wool? Right here, right here, right here, sis, right here. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. See, my brother took his hat off, right? Look at my brother right here behind you. It said his hair and the hairs on his head, meaning Christ had a what? A beard, because it's a commandment for an Israelite man, so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans. It's a commandment for you to have a beard.
That's right.
It's a sin for a black, so-called black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man to cut their beards off.
That's right.
This is why the white man in slavery used to cut our beards off and call us boy.
Right.
They knew the power in what manly dignity looks like.
That's right.
When I see a brother with a beard, I'm like, okay, this brother knows he's a man.
Right.
That's right.
Not trying to be a boy.
That's right.
But keep reading.
As white as snow.
What color was it?
As white as snow.
So it was woolly in texture, and it was white in color. Right? Go ahead.
And his eyes were as a flame of fire.
We just read in the Old Testament where it said his eyes were like a lamp of fire. Saying the same thing. Go ahead. I got you 1 second, Lamb.
And his feet.
And now it's describing his feet, just like it did in Daniel.
Right.
Go ahead.
Like unto fine brass.
Didn't we just read that in the Old Testament? But read 1 and 1 again.
Chapter 1, verse 1. The revelation of Jesus Christ.
So who is it describing? So now, what's the complexion that Jesus had according to the scriptures? Say again? Okay, well let's see how brown. Keep reading.
And his feet like unto fine brass.
Because he didn't have shoes like we wear today. You can see the feet, Jesus' feet. John the Revelator saw Jesus' feet. He said that his feet was like fine brass. But how? But how?
As if they burned in a furnace.
As if it burned in a furnace. So he wasn't a light-skinned, so-called black. He was a very dark-skinned man.
That's right.
Because here's the thing. If you burn anything, does it get lighter or darker? It gets darker. Yeah, mama ever burn rice? When mama cook, did she burn the rice? You don't know? Okay. He said, I don't know, I just eat it. So, but sister, when you cook rice, when it gets burned, does it get lighter or darker? It gets darker. So Christ's feet was like fine brass. It's already a brown color, but it's like he burned in a furnace. So it's darker because the more you burn it, the darker it gets. So now, would it be safe to say that Jesus Christ was a so-called black man? Sis said yes, 100% correct. Listen, where's that devil at? I don't know who this is. I don't know who this is. Because here's the thing, you won't find this description one place in the entire Bible. You understand that? So this is not Jesus. To hell with that.
That's right.
That is not Jesus the Christ. Jesus the Christ looks like you. He looks like you. He looks like you. Brother, he looks like you. Back there, he looks like you.
That's right.
Brother Lamb, what you got?
What we did so bad that we're here.
Ooh. Lamb, give me some. That's the $1 million question. Give me that in Daniel 9,
Bring it out.
verse 11. And then we'll go to Deuteronomy 28. But I want to read Daniel 9:11. So the question that Brother Lamb asked is, what did we do so bad that allowed us to end up here? Because we're on the bottom, right? Can anybody dispute that we're not on the bottom? We're on the bottom as a people.
We might
When you go into Atlanta, we on the bottom. When you go to Chicago, we on the bottom. You go to New York, we on the bottom. And I ain't talking about the few of our people that make it. I'm not talking about your Jay-Z. That's not even 1%.
but we're not crushed though.
We're not what?
We might be bound, but we're
Did I
not
say we're
crushed.
crushed all way?
No,
Okay.
we're not crushed.
Okay,
No.
okay, okay.
No,
All
not
right, Lance, I
forgotten.
heard you. You said we're not crushed.
Not forgotten about.
Oh, I agree with that. We're not
no.
forgotten about.
Just
But
thrown
it says
away and
we
just
are
left.
crushed.
Yeah.
It says that. We're going to get that in a second. Read that.
Daniel chapter 9, verse 11.
Bring it out.
Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice.
So now it says all Israel, all 12 tribes have transgressed God's laws, meaning broke God's laws. And it says that they might depart. So not only have you broken God's laws, but you fully turned your back on God. You understand that, right? Stick around, brother.
Therefore, the curse is poured upon us.
So because we not only broke the commandments, but turn our backs on God, God says, therefore, there's a curse on us.
That's right.
Read.
And the oath that is written in the law of Moses.
So here it is. It says, wait a minute. There's an oath written in the law of Moses. The oath is, Lamb, if you do what I say, this is what you'll get. If you do not do what I say, this is the punishment you'll get.
Right.
That's an oath, an agreement, because we agreed to what God said through Moses. So we got to find out what the oath is, right?
And Joshua.
Okay, and Joshua.
And Joshua.
Okay, but he said the oath that was where? Read that part again.
In the law of Moses.
So we got to go to the writings of Moses to find out what oath was given, what did we transgress, what did we break.
Right.
So let's go to it. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15.
Bring it out.
But it shall come to pass.
Shall. Is that present, past, or future? Shall. S-H-A-L-L. You said future. 100% correct. So this is the book of Deuteronomy. This is Moses who is writing Deuteronomy in the Spirit of God. The first 4 books is written by who? Moses. So we have to go to Moses to find out what we transgressed. What did we do to end up like this?
That's right.
In 2022, you ain't telling me voting ain't get us out of this? You tell me going to the Christian church ain't get us out of this? Nah, because all of that is lies set up
right.
to beguile and trick our people into false hope.
Right.
That's all it is. This is why I read Daniel 9. He says, we transgress God's laws and departed. So we turn away from this and believe in Obama.
Right.
We turn away from this and believe in Biden. We turn away from this and believe in everything else except what God has said.
That's right.
Huh. But read.
If thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I commanded thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So it goes right back to there's a curse and an oath upon us. We read that in Daniel earlier, right? Now Moses, he's only confirming what God told Moses. Moses said, if you don't hearken and do all of God's commandments, that a curse will be upon you. So you're asking, why? What did we do so bad that we're in this state? That's a hell of a good question. So now, we just read if we don't hearken, meaning listen, and do all his commandments, that curses will get upon us. So first, we have to see some of the curses to see if we actually fit that. Because we might just be out here talking just to talk. Jump to verse 68.
Verse 68, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
With ships. I got a question, Lamb. How did we come here in slavery? How did we get here?
We got here where could nobody touch us, could nobody come near us. We was God's chosen people. We was his army. We was his bow. You know what I'm saying? We was loved by him to the point where our DNA matches up kind of like his.
All right.
But he is the Almighty.
Lamb, here's the question,
What
though.
I'm saying, let me finish.
How did we get here in slavery?
We set up altars and images.
No, not
With
why.
altars.
What mode of transportation? How did we get here?
God's army.
We got here as God's army. How did we get here?
His army.
On what?
Ships.
Ships brought us here.
That's right.
That's a historical fact, right?
Right.
So let's read that one more time.
But they didn't come
Deuteronomy
to
chapter.
Right? Oh, they touched us all right. They touched us. They trod us down. They cast us in the dirt.
He
They
allowed
walked over
them
our
to.
bodies and told us to bow
But
down.
he allowed them
Yes.
to. It's by him that happened.
You know why? Because we broke his commandments.
That's right.
Very good. Good. So you agree?
But you have to.
Okay. So what we're showing you is we're lining it up. We're showing you that there's curses on us because we broke God's commandments. And we actually do worse now than our forefathers did.
That's right.
You know, our forefathers would set up altars to other gods, right?
Right.
Now our gods is in our phone.
That's right. See?
Now you walk around with your God in your pocket. Y'all, we understand that, right? Now, I'm not saying it's a sin to have a phone, but anything you esteem above God, it is a sin. It's an abomination. So we put more effort into our working for the white man. We put more effort into our phones, into our business, into breaking the commandments of God, rather than women, exactly, rather than doing what God says. Very simple, right? We'll read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68.
Bring it out.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt
Which means bondage or slavery.
again with ships.
How did you say we went into slavery again? On ships. Okay, so we're starting to match up a little bit, right? Showing the curse that's on us that Moses wrote about, that Daniel confirmed for us breaking the commandments. The punishment is we was on slavery. We went into slavery on ships right here. This is historical fact. That's how they packed us in like sardines. We were stacked on top of each other. So when a woman had her menstrual, guess where it went? Down to everybody below her. when they had diarrhea because of seasickness. Now, I remember being seasick one time, and my bubble guts was moving. So if you've never been in open water before, you're packed in these ships, stifling conditions, you can barely breathe, and then half the people have diarrhea. Where's that diarrhea going? Straight down. Straight down. Now, if you have a cut, because when they caught you, cut your leg, where's that feces going? Into your cut. And guess what? As we read, God is saying all of these things are going to happen. Sicknesses and diseases that were not in Egypt, but now we have, because we have broken God's commandments.
That's right.
So read that.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there,
And where?
and there,
Where you get off those ships, because the slave routes, where's that other routes? Where's the routes? We don't have it? I don't think we don't have it. Okay. So the slave routes went into South America. It went into the Caribbean islands. It went up into Asia. It went everywhere. So God says, when the children of Israel gathered, when they gathered from West Africa, right? What's going to happen?
and there,
When you get off those ships.
ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
So now, you ever heard of slave auction blocks? God says when you get off those ships, you're going to be sold to your enemies. Did that actually happen to us here? It did. Right here, yeah. Here's the slave auctions right here. Right here. This is a historical fact. But where are we reading it from? God told Moses to tell the children of Israel, this is the oath that I'm making with you. If you hearken, listen, and do my commandments, you'll be above every nation on the planet.
That's right.
If you don't, you're going to be cursed. You'll be sold when you get off slave ships. But keep reading.
Sold unto your enemies.
Unto whom?
Unto your enemies.
Would your friends put you in slavery? No, it was your enemies. Your enemies bought and sold you, shipped you off, stripped children from parents and sold them somewhere else. Our enemies did that. But the reason, like Lamb said, we broke the commandments. So God has punished us because we broke his commandments.
Right.
I'm going to give you an example. You have children? You have children? Lamb, you have children? Okay. Give me Amos 3:1, and we're going to come back here. You have children. So let's say your kids come to y'all and say, hey, Dad, there's some kids playing down the street. Can I go play with them? As a father, you look out, you see them playing. Okay, it looks harmless. Yeah, go ahead. But be home before what? Oh, I like that. The dog street, whichever one. You gave a commandment to your children. You understand that, right? You gave a commandment, you gave them instructions. Be home before dark. Be home before the street light. Whichever one. What you said? Wait a minute, I didn't even get to the good part yet. So now, if your children come home at 2 in the morning, oh, he said, huh, you don't want to see what I'm going to do. Lab, 2 in the morning. You see how everybody has the same reaction? There's going to be a punishment, correct?
3 days till she calms down.
But y'all understand, right? There's a punishment behind breaking. Y'all just gave one commandment. Y'all just gave one instruction. We read in Daniel, Israel broke all of God's commandments. So how much more angry should he be? Makes sense, right? Okay. So now, I have another question real quick. Do y'all punish the kids that they were with? You say no? No.
Well,
It depends. It depends.
No, hold on. Let's be
No,
honest.
no.
No, thank you. Why not?
Because those aren't our kids.
They wasn't your child.
Yeah.
You didn't give them the instruction.
Yeah.
You didn't tell the other kids, make sure y'all home by one. No, you told your children, be home before the street light comes on. Give me that, Amos 3.
Amos chapter 3, verse 1.
Bring it out.
Hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel.
You're going to see that all throughout the Bible. We're the children of Israel. God keeps dealing with the children of Israel. Go ahead.
Against the whole family, which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, ye only have I known.
God says, you only has he known. He's talking to the children of Israel. He says he only knows you.
That's
Keep reading.
right.
Of all the families of the earth.
So he says, out of everybody on the earth, all the children that your children were playing with, Chinese, Arabian,
Right.
Japanese, white, your kids over there, they're playing with everybody, right? But God says, just like you said, you're only going to punish your children.
That's right.
Why? Because you don't know them other kids. Well, keep reading.
Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities.
No, punish everybody.
I will punish you for all your iniquities.
Why? Because before we just read, God says he only knows you.
That's right.
He doesn't know everybody.
Right.
He created everybody,
Right.
but he only gave his laws and his love to the children of Israel.
That's right.
I'm going to prove that. Give me 2 Chronicles 9 and 8. Because he might say, no, God loves everybody. Because you hear that in a Christian church all the time. You hear that all the time, right? Okay, we're going to keep proving Lamb's point about our transgressions, but I really want y'all to see this real quick. 9 and 8. God loved. 2 Chronicles, yeah.
Second Chronicles chapter 9 verse 8. Blessed be the Lord thy God, which delighted in thee, to set thee on his throne, to be king for the Lord thy God, because thy God loved Israel.
He loved who?
Loved Israel.
Look at my man right here in the middle. Oh, you go.
To establish them forever.
So he says to establish them forever. God is not establishing all nationalities forever. He's establishing the children of Israel forever.
That's right.
Listen, the kingdom is set up for us, and rulership is set up for us, but what do we have to do? We have to keep God's commandments.
That's right.
It's that simple.
What club was that at?
Admit that a lot of people don't even realize they.
I've called her. She hasn't responded. I've called her more than a few times.
With the Zulu Nation, I'm like, what the hell is this? I know nobody know what I'm talking about. You'll leave me on the island by myself. I don't know what the hell Bishop's talking about. That's what y'all do. Then after class, yeah, I knew what you were talking about. I just don't want to be caught out there. The hell is this? Get on my damn nerves. So read that again.